Hey everybody! So today I just wanted to share with you my experience going to the Big Bang Made concert in New Jersey. I went to both days actually because I figured if I was going to go there, I might as well experience the whole thing, and they probably won't be back for a long time, so I just kind of went all in with it. So I just kind of want to tell you guys, just share with you what happened for those of you who didn't get to go to the concert. I know a lot of people have been doing that, so I think I'm gonna talk a little bit more about like what happened, like the overall experience, not so much like the concert, because I know you guys can just go on YouTube and watch the concert, but I do have clips from it because I took some clips. So there's that. So let's start from the beginning. My first vlog, if you guys watched it, I kind of showed you how I was trying to get ready, pack my suitcase. I started off, well, I think that was like the Tuesday that I started packing, and I didn't finish until, no, it was probably Monday. I don't know what day it was. I have to go back and look, but it was early. It was super in advance, and I didn't finish packing until late Wednesday night, like almost, I want to say 12 o'clock, with not just packing, but getting everything I needed, like music for my iPod, a book, all my clothes, all my makeup, all that, and getting my tickets ready and printed out, making sure I didn't like forget anything super important. So yeah, and then my flight from here to New York, from Georgia to New York, was at 6:40 in the morning, so I had to wake up super early Thursday morning, so I had to wake up around 3, and I had planned to leave around 4 because it takes about an hour from my house to the airport, so I wanted to get there around like 5-ish, so I had a good 2 hours, but I ended up being a little bit later because it took a while to do all my makeup, because I knew as soon as I got there, I really wouldn't have time to like change and get ready to go out into New York, because I spent 2 days in New York. So I wanted to be fully like dressed and ready to just go from the airport to my hotel to the city and not delay. So that took a bit, and I didn't leave till maybe almost 4:30. So I was running a little bit behind, and I was like, it'll be fine. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's gonna be deserted. Who flies that early? I was highly mistaken, very much so. I guess ticketing part wasn't super busy, but going through security was. There was a big line, and I actually had some problems with my tickets that I will explain in a different video when I just talk about New York. This one's gonna be about like Big Bang and all the fun stuff that happened with the concert and the whole adventure of that. And then if you guys want to watch these other videos I'm probably gonna make, you can go ahead and do that. Those will be coming out later. But yeah, so thankfully I got on my flight on time. I had a good 15 minutes to spare. They had already started boarding. Yeah, when I got there, they had already started boarding like zone 1 and 2, and I was like zone 4. So I had like 15 minutes to like grab a bag of chips. I didn't feel like eating breakfast when I left my house, and when I got there, I was like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. So I had time to do that and then get on the plane. And it was a fairly decent ride. I actually slept through most of it, so it went by pretty fast. And yeah, it was dark when I left here. By the time we landed, it was light, and I got off my plane about like 10 o'clock because my flight sat a little bit on the runways. But once I got there, it was so awesome. I thought I was going to be, well, I didn't think I was going to be super nervous because I've traveled by myself, and I've actually traveled to Europe by myself. So like New York, at least it's home, you know, like it's my country, it's my languages. I know what's going on. I know the laws and the generalness of how things are supposed to work. So I wasn't super nervous about that. But I had a few butterflies. But once I got there, I was super calm, and I was like happy and excited, and I was like, I'm gonna go exploring. And it took me a little while to go find out where I'd catch the bus, because I took the bus from LaGuardia to Manhattan, and I will talk more about that in my other video if you guys want to know how that works out. But it wasn't bad. And then once I finally got to my hotel, I actually stayed at it's called Astor in the Park, and it's right there on Central Park. It's on Central Park West, and it is typically a hostel, but it also has like individual rooms with individual bathrooms. So considering it was only like $100 a night, it was on like Manhattan. At the time I thought it was in Manhattan, like in the city part. But it was like on the island, and it wasn't too far away from everything I wanted to do, because everything I wanted to see and do was in Manhattan at the time. So I was like, sure, yeah, I don't mind staying at this hotel. It might not be the best. It looks pretty clean. Like most of the reviews were like, oh yeah, it's super small. It doesn't have all of these amenities and all this, but it's clean and it's cheap. So that's what I was going for. Thankfully, it really was clean. And inexpensive. It was like $100 a night, considering it's New York, and it was, you know, on Central Park. It really was. It was like directly across from Central Park, and it was on the upper West Side. I'll explain later what that means. Technically, it wasn't. So it's like on 106th Street, and from my understanding, that part is technically Harlem. Because it sure as hell felt like Harlem, but the night I had to walk through the area. But all in all, I enjoyed my experience. If you guys ever want to, you know, go there, I would recommend it for anybody, especially if you are into hostels. But if not, if you're just traveling alone and you want to do it cheaply, or even with like another person, because the bed was fairly decent sized, I would recommend it. Because you know, it had a decent bathroom, it had closets, hangers, TV, phone, an okay view of the park. You know, it wasn't anything amazing, but for $100 a night, it was doable. It's very much doable, considering the rest of the hotels in that area was $200 and up. So I could do that. Moving on, so I spent 2 days in New York, saw the sights, got on one of those hop-on, hop-off buses, did all of like the normal sightseeing things. I also visited Chinatown and K-Town, and I'll make a video about both those separately and post those later on. And then, so I got there Thursday morning-ish, around noon actually, dropped my stuff off at the hotel. I wasn't able to check in because check-in wasn't until 3. Went around the city, and then checked out Saturday morning around like 10:30. Took the subway into the city, visited K-Town, had lunch there / brunch technically, and then went to Penn Station, which is like a couple blocks over, and took the train from there to New Jersey. And I'll save all the travel details for something else. So the hotel I stayed in was the Hilton Newark Airport, which was like a little bit down the road from the airport. I had originally wanted to stay in the Hilton Penn Station hotel, which would have been oh so perfect, because I didn't realize until like my second night of the concert, which would have been like Sunday night, that Penn Station was like right there next to the center. I wish I had known that Saturday night, but you guys will see why. But anyways, it would have been so convenient to be down there. I wouldn't have had to take so many buses and deal with all that. So if you guys are thinking, I'm gonna say this now instead of later, so in case I forget. If you guys go to a concert down there for some reason, or if you're, well yeah, mostly if you're going for a concert, the best thing to do is, if you can, get a hotel near the Prudential Center, or like the Penn Station, like that whole area. There's like a ton of hotels in that little area. They were just a little bit more expensive. However, the Hilton that I was looking at had okay prices. The Hilton and the Holiday Inn were both two of the ones I was considering, but they had already sold out for that Sunday night, so I wasn't able to book them. And I was willing to spend a little bit more also for those 2 nights in New Jersey, because I figured I would be out late. I knew I was going to be out late, and I wanted something a little bit more convenient. And unfortunately, I got the airport hotel, and I didn't realize how far away it was and how inconvenient it would be to travel back and forth. Saying all that, Saturday, once I get to my hotel, you know, I put everything down, I start getting ready for the concert. That's like around 3. It took a while to travel everywhere and do all this. And then by the time I get downtown, I take a couple buses. By the time I get downtown to Newark, because the hotel is in Elizabeth, it is like 5 o'clock almost. And I was a little worried because I was a little worried, and then I wasn't worried because I knew that I already had my tickets. Like, I was in general audience, so I wasn't standing, so it didn't exactly matter where I was in the line. However, my cousin had called me. She lives in Newark. Well, she lives in the Newark area, but she had been down in Newark, and she called me. She was like, "Hey, Biggs, are you in that line right now?" And I'm like, "What line are you talking about, honey?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, like, we just passed the Prudential Center, and like, the line is all the way around the building. Like, I did not realize this concert was so huge and blah, 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 blah." She's like, "What time is the concert? Are you gonna be late?" I'm like, "No, it's not till 8 o'clock. And she was just like, "Oh my gosh, what the heck, that is crazy," because it's 2 o'clock. There are people everywhere and blah, blah, blah. So I was a little concerned. I was like, maybe I didn't understand, like maybe there was something I was missing. I did want to be there a little bit earlier because I wanted to mingle with other K-pop fans and just get to know people, because I don't really know a lot of people in Georgia who like K-pop. I've met a few, but we haven't been like, "Oh my gosh, I like K-pop and I like this group and we're connecting," and it just was not like that, unfortunately. But they were nice. So I got there around 5 and I saw the line. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's pretty long, but I haven't eaten since 12, and I'm not going to get out of this concert until at least 10. Hopefully, I wasn't sure because I had heard that the concert was shorter. So I was hoping at least it'd be 2 hours, at least to get our money's worth. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep walking, and hopefully there's like something I can eat really quick. I thought I was gonna go to a convenience store and get like chips or something stupid like that. But there was actually a McDonald's just a little bit further down, like a block and a half over, or down Broad Street. I think it was Broad Street. I was on. So I got in there. It was packed with K-pop people, like, or not K-pop VIPs, to be more exact. Like, you could tell because we were all dressed a little bit elaborately, lots and lots of eye makeup. And I was like, oh, these are my people. This is awesome. So I got some food. I was able to sit down, relax, eat, and then go back to the venue. And once I got there, the line had gotten a little bit longer. Because I was on Broad Street and the line was just coming up a little bit past where the center kind of ends, I guess where the building. So where the building ends and their little parking garage starts. That's a great explanation for that. So as soon as I got in line, it was basically exactly where they cut it off for the people on that side of it, and people had to start sneaking back and forth. So yeah, people kind of ran out of space on where to line up. But in line, I met a nice lady. At first I thought she was under VIP, but she kept saying strange things. Like, I was like, oh yeah, no. She asked me something about the line, and she was like, is this the line for like seating? And I was like, yes, I'm pretty sure it is. And she's like, oh, okay. That's crazy, because I got dropped off, I guess, on the other street. And she's like, I had to walk up, and the line is super long. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, we have our seats, so it really shouldn't matter. I wasn't quite sure exactly why there's so many people there. I mean, even for like the general audience, I thought they were gonna be somewhere. I thought it would be like 2 different lines, but I think that first night it was just one huge line, and people started to like having to snake the line back and forth in certain places. So I met this lady in line, and she asked me about the seating, and then she went on and asked me how long I had liked the group, and I was like, oh yeah, a couple of years. So we started talking, and then she started telling about how her friend likes the group, and she's doing it for her birthday and all this, and she was super nice. And we were talking like other people.